Hello everyone!
Hello and welcome back to our brief chat about our project's definition. As you know, I'm Sofia.
And I'm Sergio, and we're part of Team 5. And today, we're going to complete the narration that we did last time, starting from the challenges and opportunities that the territory offers us, towards the definition of the famous fabric pattern, made of people, projects, and stories.
Yes, in fact, as you may remember from last time, we concluded with some consideration on the value of history, actions, and elements integrated into the processes. We consider the social, economic, and productive information of the territory, as well as the one of the company that we are working with, Dualsan Italy, with their historical path, activities, input, and outputs.
So many information that needs to be organized and combined, I guess, in challenges and opportunity. For this reason, I'd like to hear what Claudia has to tell us about.
Hello. Yes, many different challenges have been found from different point of view. Some were more specific to the territory, other to the company, but both took into account flow of energy, matter and information. For instance, we can see now a few of them that can be considered the most relevant. In particular, when we are talking about waste management, we are considering the metropolitan administration of it, which is now quite fragmented as every actors follow different requirements and policies. But we have also to consider the company side, with 44.5 tons of waste per year. Meanwhile, another interesting challenge can be defined as multi-layered communication. Here we are talking, for instance, about fairs and events in the metropolitan area that are shifting towards other city, weakening its image. At the same time, the company has different levels of communication that could be implemented and integrated with each other. But we can also see some very positive aspects too. In fact, behind these challenges, there is some notions of different opportunities, and for this, Emily can tell us something.
Yes, thanks, Claudia. Continuing your point of view, waste management is an issue, we agree. But if it's managed, collected and reused inside the company, it can become a new composite material useful in innovative production processes. Take for instance the case study of La Tête dans les nuages and the reuse of textile to create beanbag chair, or Ecotech, which is a process of Marquis and Fieldy, which transforms pre-consumer clipping into new beautifully colorful yarns. But also communication has opportunity to be implemented and combined, especially if it's integrated with new educational purposes of pre-existing know-how that are able to reinforce it. For instance, a Dutch design program is creating collaborative initiative by setting up a network of motivated stakeholders in their value chain and organizing meetings to overcome internal difficulties. Finally, it's also important to mention the power of the bottom-up approach, in particular adding new attention to the materials. There are also many opportunities that are accessible, for instance by implementing labels. Les Tissages de Charlieu is a great example. Their fabrics are certified by GOTS that ensure that all production stages meet the requirement of the bioproduction and the protection of the environment.
That's great to know, Emily. It is very important to see what is the present reality of this context, but also to valorize what can be done. And I also want to mention that this opportunity, studied through the lens of the 5 criteria of the systemic design methodology, plus other 2, environmental protection and multi-layer well-being, were fundamental to define a clear path of the main strategies.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned them, let me tell you which are the strategies that could be transformed into a real project development.
That sounds terrific. Please, go ahead.
Okay, we can start with a first proposal. The first strategy focuses on the selection and the use of some labels so that the company could push the suppliers to adopt these new approaches. A second strategy can involve the realization of a new product by recycling the fabric waste. Repurposing the fabric's output creates new materials that don't need to be sorted by the fiber origins, but with the different properties could bring added value to the new product. A third strategy can be defined as horizontal dialogue. Working on the social awareness, sensitization, advocacy, and divulgation of well-being and health can bring visibility to the company implementing the links with the territory. A final strategies can be directed towards the realization of new production processes more energetically sustainable.
So, if I may spoiler the chosen path, as mentioned, the main solid output managed by the company is textile waste. Therefore, the solution should involve the use of those fibers as a melange product, giving value to the whole and not selecting specific aspects while excluding others. Then, the promotion of these new products should be integrated in a wider spectrum of elements that consider action and communication of social and environmental sustainability. So, in the end, the proposed solution should go from the purpose of the new physical output to the internal and external know-how of the company.
Yes, but please say no more. Before moving to the details of the final proposal, as last time, we are going to spend a few minutes on commercial.
In un mondo dove i ritagli di tessuto sono solo visti come ritagli di tessuto, in un mondo dove il cambiamento climatico danneggia le buonissime ciliegie di Pecetto e le obbliga a diventare uno scarto, ehi tu, piccolo pezzettino di stoffa, come mai ti trovi qui fuori? Ti senti abbandonato? E tu, ciliegina, nessuno ti vuole perché sei tutta ammaccata dalla pioggia? Dual San Italy è l'azienda in grado di far incontrare questi due mondi per restaurare il loro valore. Con le conoscenze, le tecniche industriali e il valore del mondo agricolo nasce una nuova realtà simbiotica che arricchisce entrambi i mondi. Il coinvolgimento e il riuso al 100% degli scarti tessili e dei noccioli di ciliegie locali ci dona la possibilità di creare Teresa. Teresa è l'unico peluche terapeutico per alleviare la tensione e lo stress dei bambini con neurodivergenze. Teresa è soffice, avvolgente, simpatica e prodotta localmente. Teresa la ceresa, una morbida esperienza.
And we are back. Well, we can say that this spot is the perfect way to introduce this integrated project management. What do you say, Elena? Can you tell us something more about Teresa?
Certainly. This spot presenting one of the focal points of the systemic solution, the creation of a weighted toy. And this embodies several aspects. First of all, the reuse of textile waste. That is one of the main challenges of the project. Do you remember those 44.5 tons of textile waste of different origins? Here, through a mechanical process and a shredding machine, they can be transformed into wool that can be used as a padding. Meanwhile, for the outer covering, a nice patchwork can be made from the same scraps, reducing as well additional waste.
And what about cherries instead? It seems a combination a little bit out of the box.
Yeah, and this is exactly why this project is so interesting and linked with the local territory. Let's start with the context. Dual San Italy is located in Moncalieri, not far from Pecetto, a town famous for the production of cherries, which for 105 years has been celebrating this fruit with a dedicated festival. Although these are seasonal products, they also have an annual waste, in particular of cherry pits. They waste around 1.5 tons of cherry pits per year. If introduced in the productive process of Dual San Italy, they can be added weight to the weighted toy itself. And this new outcome, with its new properties defined by the weight and the sensorial element of the cherry pits, can be useful for a specific use. It can become a therapeutic toy for neurodivergent children that need additional support, especially in this difficult transitional moment that we are facing due to the COVID pandemic.
So, let me get this straight. The materials, the purpose, and the cultural heritage linked to the know-how of workers can be an added value for socio-environmental visibility and awareness.
Exactly, but there is more. In order to act in a horizontal and holistic way, also through communication, the final solution has the purpose to involve all the actors by enlarging the level of awareness. In particular, in this second step, the potentiality of the internal know-how on health and well-being can be the starting point of new social sustainable processes. As principal output, Dual San Italy has the possibility to engage other companies proposing daily courses as a set of different tools that improve soft skills of the employees from the healthcare point of view. The events and workshops can be created for 20 workers at the same time in one day, creating new connections with other local companies. The last step of this integrated project management sees the involvement of all the actors in the action of attention, even towards the raw materials. The company can propose to its suppliers a set of different labels and regulations that involve attention towards workers, materials, processes, and footprints. Moreover, those labels can be time by time implemented and can become standards on which to base all production and to add value in comparison to other companies.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much, Elena. But now I'm asking myself, how is it possible to realize all of these and what can be done? Luckily, we have here Bastien that can help us answer this question.
Thanks, Sergio. And yes, starting with the production of the weighty toy, our Teresa, we can base it on the annual consumption of cherries and discard around 1.5 tons of cherry pits. It offers the possibility to sell up to 15,000 therapeutic toys already during the first year, reusing almost half of the textile waste from the company. And let me tell you, at the same time, this development will enable quite positive outcomes to emerge. Starting from an economical perspective. In the first year, the toy will be sold at 35 euros each, thus providing a gross income of 525,000 euros, which will then reach 840,000 at the end of the fourth year, with 24,000 toys sold. This represents 100% reuse of the fabric waste. Also, on the other hand, the action of horizontal communication will promote the adoption of corporate social responsibility management and reporting practices. Realizing webinars and workshops for other companies can be another additional small, yet important source of income. And as a result, the new systemic balance sheet shows an increase of 83.5% in the net results of the first year after our implementation.
Great, but are there also some environmental and socially positive outcomes?
Absolutely. And starting with an environmental aspect, the total reuse of the waste rather than the production of a new material will bring a reduction in the water and the carbon footprint. At the same time, not bringing this fabric to a waste-to-energy facility, there will be a reduction of many different air pollutants. Finally, a quite relevant impact is also toward the cultural ecosystem. In addition to the communication of the know-how of the company, the new product will also extend the physical care the company always had toward mental care. It is before all therapeutic toy aimed to help neurodivergent people. The divulgation part of the products will instead contribute to the recreation system by bringing more awareness on well-being topics. On top of all these aspects, the use of labels will increase the monitoring of the production processes, energy consumptions, and carbon footprints. Labels can also improve the awareness from the company, the suppliers, and the final users, contributing in the end to all the aspects of our complex environments.
Thank you, everyone. As the last thing to say, we can mention back the aim of this project that is related to three main concepts that define the origin of the whole process: people, projects, and stories. The care of the people is in their direct or indirect involvement through new awareness and soft skills in health, well-being, and the collaborative value. Considering the projects, they are visible not just in the development of this integrated project management, but in all the potential and future actions that can evolve due to this first sparkle.
We are really at the end. So, I would like to conclude with the concept of the stories. They are integrated and permeating the socio-cultural pattern of this defined context. The stories are the past of the company, but they are also its future. The stories are in the local industrial development since 1980s, as well as in the agricultural knowledge and experiences. But they are also individual. They are stories that talk about singular persons that are living their life and, with the support of new products, services, experiences, are able to value their path in life and the future of this territory. Thank you, everyone.